On this special episode of No More Beans, we talk about how to survive Freshers Week.
Freshers could be the best week of your life, but if it's not, that doesn't mean your university experience is going to be any less.
The composition of cheese.
Cheese is it's just hard milk.
How to make friends at uni.
It can be really scary at the beginning, but it's not as hard as you think.
And slightly questionable pranks.
That's assaulting someone. Lemons aren't soft.
No, I didn't.
Plus, we'll be talking about surviving shared living, and I'll be telling you guys about some of my top money-saving tips.
Hello and welcome to No More Beans, the money-saving podcast from Save the Student. I'm Jess.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here to help you save cash at university. So it's been a bit of a while since we've been sat here doing the podcast,
it's good to be back.
Yeah, so we're here back in the studio. Well, I say studio. We're just sat in the office with some microphones. But we're back here. We are doing a special Freshers edition of the podcast.
Yeah, so for all our first-time listeners and maybe even first-time students, if you're starting uni as a fresher this September, we should probably explain a little bit about who we are and what we do. So here at Save the Student, we're dedicated to helping you save and make money at uni. So if you head over to our website, savethestudent.org, we've got loads of helpful guides on everything from the best student bank accounts to saving money on pre-drinks.
Yeah, so we've been doing this podcast for a little while now, and we've already done episodes on stuff like student housing and how a mouse stole my Kit Kats. We've done stuff on travelling on a budget, setting up a business at uni. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure you go back and give some of our other episodes a listen after this, and subscribe to our channel so you're the first to hear when we release new stuff.
Yeah, so enough plugging our own content. Let's get cracking with the Freshers edition of No More Beans.
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing is sharing some of our own experiences of Freshers Week, what to do, what not to do, what to expect. And we've asked some of our listeners to send in the things that they wish they'd known before Freshers Week as well, and they've got some really good stuff to share.
Cool. We'll also be discussing how to make friends at uni, how to survive shared living, and our resident money expert Jake will be popping in to talk about how to set up an effective uni budget.
So what is your main memory of Freshers Week, Tom? Was it everything you thought it would be?
Well, and I can't remember if I've said this on the podcast before, but I didn't get accommodation. I didn't get halls in first year of uni.
Travelodge Tom.
Exactly. Yeah, see, I have mentioned it then.
Yeah.
So I was probably, I mean, it's hard to say, but I feel like maybe I was more apprehensive. Thank you. When I was saying, I was like, that's not a word. More apprehensive than your standard student, because obviously a lot of students will have the kind of the fallback of knowing, well, at least I'm in halls, like at least I'll be able to meet people there. Whereas for me, I literally didn't have any means other than my course essentially to meet people. So for me, my abiding memory of Freshers Week is going to nightclubs by myself and having to try and meet people there.
Oh my God.
Which is something that I look back and I think, how the hell did I manage to do that? Because nowadays I would never in a million years go to a nightclub by myself ever.
Yeah, I think it is quite tough. I mean, as I say, my main memory of Freshers Week was just a lot of nights out. And you always end up going to like the worst clubs as well, because you don't know where's good and what's not. So you just kind of like go wherever. So honestly, one of the things that I would say is Freshers Week in your second and third year will quite possibly be better than Freshers Week when you're a fresher, because then you know actually where to go and where the best events are. And you'll meet loads and loads of people. Like you meet so many people who you're kind of like best friends with for a night, and then they you never see them again. I've still got people saved in my phone as like, you know, Charlotte from D Block or whatever.
Yeah, I've still got one in my phone just called Jacket.
Jacket.
Because some guy asked me to look after his jacket or something. I can't remember if I gave it back to him. I must have given it back to him.
I've got like people saved as like sell space tickets, because space is like this, like there's so many things like that. And I think obviously you've got to be open, you've got to meet lots of new people, but I think definitely sort of prepare for the fact that you might never see them again. Like as sort of harsh as that sounds, but it's just about kind of meeting everyone.
So Freshers Week clearly has the potential to be amazing, and for a lot of people will be amazing, but it's definitely a good idea to prepare. So, I mean, we have an article on the site, 10 Tips to Survive Freshers Week, which I think really has some really useful information in it.
Yeah. I thought we'd go through them now because there is some really good stuff in there, and we can kind of contribute our own thoughts.
Yeah.
So the first one is save in advance, which I think is something quite important. I think it's something that not a lot of students think about, because it is quite I think the beginning of uni, it can Freshers Week is literally a week of just going out and partying and stuff. That's quite expensive, and you'll probably never really do that again for the rest of the year. So you kind of need money for that as well. Think about when your maintenance loan actually comes in, because it might not come in time for Freshers Week or other things.
I remember for myself, so, some people would get there on the Friday or the Saturday or the Sunday, and I went on the Sunday, but the maintenance loan didn't come in until you'd officially enrolled. And when you officially enrolled, exactly, it depends on when you officially enroll. Essentially, you can't really choose a lot of the time. So mine wasn't until the Wednesday, I think. So I had 3 or 4 days where, thankfully, I still had some of my own money, my own savings left over. But some people might not have.
It's definitely good to have some buffer money to get you through this first week or so. And as well, don't buy any tickets or wristbands or anything like that until you get to uni, because what happens if you spend 50 quid on a wristband and then you get there and none of your flatmates have got that wristband? You've just wasted money. And also a lot of them are just scams and rip-offs.
Although I would add is that if you and your friends are going to go to lots of places together, then the wristbands really are good value. Because I remember the one I bought was £40, I think, but it literally had access to 20 nights out, which in London, anywhere that's good, but in London that's incredible.
I didn't really get one. I think they did have them for Leeds, but I think there was this one event, it was called the Freshers Icebreaker. I remember we all got tickets for that.
It's all got ice branding on it as well.
So obviously you will get them, but I would just say one thing I would advise is just kind of wait until you get there and don't sort of jump into buying stuff when you're still at home and you don't know what you're going to be doing. Number 2 is to be yourself. So don't try to reinvent yourself, because people will probably just see right through it. And I feel obviously this is probably not universal, but I do feel in a lot of cases compared to high school, uni's just a lot friendlier, a lot more accepting. If there's people from high school who are just not very nice people, and you're I want to reinvent myself because I don't want to sort of recreate who I was at high school. It probably won't even come to that, because everyone at uni is just so much nicer.
Well, not even just that, the fact that at uni, in your year alone, there will probably be thousands, if not tens of thousands of people. It doesn't matter who you are or what you're like. I absolutely 100% guarantee you that there will be other people like you, because there are just so many of them. So
many people. You'll kind of find your own crowd. And that kind of leads on to the next one, which is obviously not easier said than done, but don't be shy when you first go there. So, the number one thing that people always say is keep your door open when you move into halls, have that kind of welcoming atmosphere. Try and remember people's names when you meet them as well, although that's so difficult when you first start. But if someone tells you your name, try and repeat it back to them, because that's meant to help, I think. And just sort of you've got to be a bit more out there, I think, at the beginning, even if you are a shy person. I think you do have to.
And something kind of linked to this is, I'm guessing it's still a thing. It certainly was a thing when I was at uni, and I still see these groups popping up on Facebook. Are freshers Facebook groups. So for before you even get to uni, there'll be groups for certain people in certain halls, people in certain courses and stuff. That's a really good way to kind of start the conversation early on, meet some people, even just kind of familiarize yourself with the names and the faces and what the people are going to be like before you get there, so it's not a total shock when you do. And number 4 is do your admin. So you will have to kind of register as a student when you get there. When I did it, I don't know what it was like for you, but the queue was so long. Mine wasn't too bad because I was doing it on the Wednesday. I think by the time I did it, everyone else had. But I do remember people saying they were queuing for literally over an hour just to get their photo taken.
It was ridiculous. And I didn't take anyone with me as well, because I was just I'm just going to go register. It'll take. And I just was stood in this queue for what felt like forever. But just obviously Tom's just said he waited and that kind of paid off for him. But also in the same vein, you might want to just get it over and done with.
Yeah, and it meant I had to wait for my loan as well. So.
Yeah, just, because especially kind of as the week goes on, if you're going on loads of nights out, you might forget about it. So just do that kind of stuff, take a friend with you, get registered, and then you're sorted. Sign up to societies. Obviously, there will be freshers fairs there. Make sure you go along to them, although they can be quite stressful and really busy, and sometimes you just kind of don't really know what's going on. But maybe it's think about what societies you want to do in advance and sort of route them out. Or if you just see something when you're there and you think, you know what, I fancy that, put your name down for it. The uni that I went to, they had this thing called a give it a go session for every society. So you would go and you'd put your name down for the Give It a Go session, which is like not the same as signing up to the society, because most societies cost money. So obviously you don't want to sign up to loads and you've spent loads of money.
Yeah.
But sign up for the Give It a Go session, like it's part and parcel of the beginning of uni, like going to some weird society that you decide you don't like and you're never going to go back. But
yeah, but at least you gave it a go.
Yeah, exactly. On brand, give it a go. Yeah, number 6 is ration which events you go to. So I think one of the things that I would say is like you will get to know people a lot more on like nights in.
Definitely.
So like my experience was, although I went on some like amazing nights out on Freshers Week, I just remember we had this one night where we stayed in and we just stayed in the kitchen and made like Rocky Road for some reason.
Aww.
And then, yeah, and it's one of my favorite nights on Freshers because it was just like, it was really nice. And I just think you get to know people a lot more that way. Yeah. Obviously, I know you might just be like, all I want to do is go out and get drunk, which is fine. But try and make time, whether it's like a movie night or whatever. When you can speak to people not drunk and actually get to know them, like. Yeah, it'll be so much better kind of in the long run. Number 7 is student discounts. So make sure you get your NUS Extra card. That gives you discounts like everywhere. Like, well, not everywhere.
I can't think of any off the top of your head, but there are a lot of them.
No, I know one off the top of my head, and that is McDonald's. I use it. Used it a lot. So you get the what is it? Free cheeseburger.
Or is it or McFlurry?
Or McFlurry or McChicken, maybe.
Yeah, McFlurries are overrated, but that's for another time.
Yeah, and also, of course, little plug of hundreds of deals on the site. Some of them are like exclusive for students, some of them aren't. But make sure you get yourself signed up to that so you get them straight to your WhatsApp or wherever, and that will save you so much money.
Yeah.
Number 8 is my favorite one, fancy dress.
You do love fancy dress.
I'm obsessed with fancy dress.
An unhealthy amount.
Yeah. I mean, if you do get an opportunity to go to a fancy dress event in Freshers Week or just whenever, and you 100% will, because that is just uni life.
Yeah, it's one of the main things.
Like, just embrace it. Like, go to charity shops, make your own, like, do whatever. Like, it's just so much fun. And honestly, it's like probably the thing I miss most about university is the opportunity.
You went to a fancy dress party like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because I miss it. And that was the first one I've done in like a year.
Oh, fair enough.
Like at uni, like whatever it is, just, I don't know, get involved. You might be a bit like, oh, I feel stupid. I feel like an idiot. Like, no one cares. Uni is the time to do that kind of stuff. Number 9 is dealing with homesickness. So this is obviously for people who like are moving away from home to go to uni. It's something that I did experience a little bit in my first term because obviously it's such a big change. Yeah. I think everyone deals with it quite differently. I would sort of suggest perhaps as hard as it is, like you've got to go a bit cold turkey a little bit at the beginning. So like don't go home too early on in the term. Like don't go to uni for like 5 days and then go home for the weekend because that just makes it 10 times worse. And like obviously don't like ignore your parents, but also maybe it's just like try not to talk to people from home too often. Like as hard as it is, you've kind of got to let go a little bit. You've got to embrace the uni life. Like I guess it's almost similar in a way to like when you hear people talking about like giving up cigarettes or something. Yeah. Like that first stage will be the hardest bit. And then once you do that, you'll wonder like how you ever found it difficult. Yeah. For me, by like second year, definitely, I was 100% like, how was I ever like homesick? Like this is great. Like it'll eventually reach the point where you'll kind of be like, I don't want to go home. Yeah. You'll get uni sick. You'll be at home and you just want to go back to uni. Yeah. So yeah, it's difficult and at first it can be a shock to the system, especially when you kind of like don't really know people that well, but sort of stick with it and you'll be fine. And then number 10, final one is don't be that person. And that person is the person who gets a bit too drunk, sort of either, I don't know, doesn't make it on the night out or has to be carried home at like midnight. And like, vomits everywhere. Yeah, everyone is that person at some point. Yeah. But like, I don't think I did it during Freshers Week though, which I'm pretty proud of. I didn't do it during Freshers Week. I think I was very like, what's the word? Like very conscious of, like how drunk I was getting and stuff. Like obviously like if you do it once, people make those kind of mistakes, like it's fine. But just try not to be that person because you want to remember Freshers Week for a start. That's true. Also you'll be like good if you like pay money for a ticket for a night out and you don't make it on the night out because you're too drunk. So yeah. So that is kind of our advice from Save the Student. But we also asked our lovely listeners what their advice would be for new freshers who are starting. And they had some really good stuff to say and lots of stuff which I also agree I wish I'd known before I started uni. So anyway, this is them.
The one thing I wish I'd known before I started university was that you don't really even need half of the books that they suggest on the reading list.
I wish I had known before university to never sleep or get involved with a flatmate in halls.
I wanted to know before I started university that everybody was friendly and just keen to get to know you, and probably just as scared as I was.
So the one thing I wish I'd known before starting university is that freshers could be the best week of your life, but if it's not, that doesn't mean your university experience is going to be any less. Like second term, third term, you just will never want to come home. You want to stay with your friends, and that's an incredible feeling.
I wish I knew how normal it was to feel lonely, and also how much university wouldn't meet expectations.
That pasta would be my new best friend.
I wish I'd known to save more money first.
I wish I'd known how important it is to be involved with sports groups and societies and things like that.
The price of cheese is ridiculous.
He's not wrong. Cheese does cost a lot.
I mean, it does. It is a bit of a shock when you head to the supermarket for the first time.
I would say cheese and probably meat I would put up there as well, as if you've never done like grocery shopping before you've gone to uni, those are the two things you're just like, I can't believe that they cost that much.
True. I can understand it a bit more with meat, but like cheese is like, it's just hard milk, and milk's not very expensive.
It is just hard milk.
So why is it just go up so much in price just because it's in solid form?
I have no idea. I honestly don't know. You know what? If anyone out there is a cheese expert, feel free to write in at podcast@savethestudent.org. Let us know, why is cheese so expensive?
Yeah, it is. It boggles me. But I mean, there's some really good advice there. I think just like generally people saying, you know, you might have these huge kind of expectations about what Freshers Week or just your uni is going to be like.
Yeah.
And it might not live up to that, but that doesn't mean like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I think especially when you watch like films and TV and stuff, and they will quite often make, particularly American films, will make university to be able to be this massive, like, you know, 3-year long party, and it's going to be the greatest years of your life. And it's almost, I mean, it can be that, and it can be amazing, but equally, it might not be that, and it's not a disaster if it's not, because you know, not everyone's going to feel that way, and if it doesn't quite meet the expectations, like, don't feel devastated about it. Yeah.
And I think as one person kind of said, you know, Freshers Week is literally just the first week of what's going to be a 3, maybe 4-year experience for you. And like, just because Freshers Week isn't amazing doesn't mean you're not going to have some amazing experiences at some point along the line. Like, I would say kind of my kind of third year was, you kind of think, oh, third year, that's going to be just boring studying, whatever.
I think it was my favourite.
Yeah, and I think as you'll kind of see that first year might not even be like your favourite year of uni, even though that's the year where you kind of expect it's going to be the best. So basically, if it kind of starts out a bit rubbish, just kind of hold in there, because it will definitely get better.
Also, as well, kind of going back to something we said earlier, that you meet all these people in Freshers Week and you take all their phone numbers and everything, whatever, and then you never speak to them again. Like, just because you haven't made any great friends in Freshers Week doesn't mean anything. Like, I didn't make many. I don't think any of the people that I ended up being friends with across uni, I think I barely spoke to them during Freshers Week, maybe a couple of times. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it's not like after that 1 week, that's your window of opportunity cut off. You still have 3 years left.
Exactly. I'd say, I mean, I did make friends in Freshers who have kind of stuck with ever since. But then I also made 2 friends who were kind of like, well, technically when I graduated, but when I was working as the newspaper editor, who kind of like, I class as like my best friends from uni now, and that was in my 4th year that I met them. So just because you don't make your best friend for life in your first day of uni or first week or whatever, you know, it will happen.
Yeah.
So I think the main thing that people worry about when starting uni is making friends. And I know that was certainly kind of one of the things that I was really scared about when starting uni. And I think, I mean, it's easy for us to say when we're sat in this position, obviously newly graduated, but like, you will make friends and you will find your friendship group, even though it might not necessarily be where you expect to find them.
Yeah. I mean, so I think when you first start out, lots of people, certainly myself included, fixate on your flatmates and halls. And obviously for me, the fixation was that I didn't have accommodation in halls, so I wouldn't have any flatmates. But for people who do, I guess the fixation is whether you'll get on with them. But I think generally speaking, given that it's people from all different walks of life, with all these different interests and whatever, all coming together in a flat of like 6 or 5 or whatever, however many people, it's really quite common and not to be unexpected that sometimes you won't get on. So like, as I said before, I didn't get accommodation initially. And as such, I had to, after about a month and a half, move into a house share with a bunch of other people who didn't get accommodation. And I really didn't like them. I've spoken about it on the podcast before. I really did not like them at all. And I'm not going to lie, it wasn't great. Like, it wasn't great living with them for a year. But after that year, like, but, you know, first of all, during that year, you can spend as much time with your friends outside of that house as you want anyway. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not confined to that room for 24 hours a day. And also, in the second and third year, didn't have to live with them anymore. Like, I made other friends who I could live with. Like, it might not be ideal, but, you know, there are solutions and ways around it, which I think is what happened to you as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had a similar experience, although I kind of maybe handled things a little bit differently. So again, I didn't particularly get on with my flatmates. So I actually applied for a flat transfer.
Yeah.
But you weren't allowed to move to a different flat until I think it was at least 3 weeks into term, because I think the uni kind of thought, oh, loads of students will move in.
Yeah, if we let them move quickly, then everyone will move.
Yeah, but if we kind of force them to have 3 weeks there. Yeah. But I was just like, no, like I need to leave. So I applied for a flat transfer, stayed in the same kind of halls, but literally just moved to a different block. Yeah. And God, this makes me sound like, what's the word, like Goldilocks, and I still didn't like
a diva.
No, but so I moved to my new flat,
yeah,
and my new flatmates were much better. They still weren't my best friends.
Yeah.
Like I still didn't stay in touch with them after I kind of left, but I made friends, you know, like you, I made friends elsewhere, and they were kind of who I ended up living with when I left. But I think at the end of the day, it can sort of, if you're living with people who you really don't get on with, and you're kind of, your lifestyle is very different from theirs, or whatever it is, it can have a bit of a negative impact on your mental health and that kind of thing. So, but most universities will have some kind of procedure in place where you can move or you can do something.
Yeah, you're never just going to be stuck.
Yeah, if you think it is that bad, although be prepared. Like I had to move. You know, my parents helped me move in, and then literally 3 weeks later, it was like me and a couple of mates like lugging boxes across to my new flat. But yeah, so there is always options. You know, I don't regret moving, as I think it would have had a pretty negative impact on my uni experience if I hadn't. But at the same time, I now know that it definitely is not as big of a deal as I thought it was at the time.
Yeah, so I think really the take-home message is you don't just make friends in halls. Like, sure, you can, and it might end up being the source of your best mates, but even if you don't, like, you can meet people on your course, societies, sports teams. If you get a job, like, you can meet co-workers there as well. Even just like people you bump into in the library or something. Like, there are so many ways to meet people at uni, and there are so many people at the uni that, like, it's almost impossible not to make friends.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that goes for kind of, if you're a student and you're kind of not wanting to move away from home, you're kind of wanting to stay at home. I think a lot of people get worried, like, how am I going to make friends? There's literally like so many opportunities. But I think you do have to be prepared to put yourself out there a little bit more than you might have been used to at school. So you do have to kind of, you know, introduce yourself to people, you know, ask their name, ask what they're studying, that kind of thing, make a bit of small talk. Like it can be like quite nerve wracking. It can also get kind of repetitive. Like I remember by the end of second year, I was just like, if anyone asks me what I'm studying one more time, like, oh my God, like it does get really repetitive, but you've just got to do it. Like that's how friendships start. Like it does feel a bit, oh God, like this is just so awkward.
I hate small talk. I literally hate small talk.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of feel like if I can do it, then anyone can. Like, because I really, especially then, was not confident talking to new people, and I hated small talk. But just like, it's that kind of thing of acknowledging that everyone feels the same way.
Yeah.
You know, like how they say when you go to a job interview, imagine people naked. Like, I never really understood it until Freshers Week, where it's just like, imagine, the whole point of it is like, imagine that they are as vulnerable as you are, because everyone is, like, everyone's in this same nervous boat. So no one's going to like think you're an idiot if you like go, you know, no one's going to think, oh, he's weird. Why is he asking me what course I'm studying? Because if anything, they'll be bloody relieved that you're the first person to talk.
It's not like you're going to a party where everyone knows each other and you're like the odd one out. Like, you're going to a party where nobody knows each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone wants to make friends. And I think as well, just as hard as it can be, but just go along to everything that you're invited to. Yeah. So, you know, you might be tempted, you just want to stay in your room and like watch Netflix, whatever, but like you're never going to make friends that way. You do kind of have to go out there. And I always used to say to myself, like, if there was an event that I was invited to, like, I don't know, like a social for a society or a night out and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go. Like, you don't have to stay. Like, if you go and you hate it, like, you can literally just walk out that door and leave. But at least go along and try and make the effort because, you know, that's kind of how you make friends and that's how you'll be invited back next time. So I think the main message is making friends at uni. It can be really scary at the beginning, but it's not as hard as you think and it will definitely happen for you. What would be your kind of top tips for living in kind of shared accommodation? Because I think my top tips potentially a bit controversial because mine would be to kind of like don't get angry about mess and washing up and like if possible just like switch off from it because I kind of went into uni thinking, right, like students are messy, students go on nights out and they leave mess everywhere and I can either choose to get angry about it and get stressed about it or I can choose to literally just ignore it. And I went for the second option and I personally think it stood me in good stead. Like, I didn't really get stressed about, I didn't really have any arguments.
You forget that I do actually have to sit next to you at a desk. So I'm living with the consequences of mess Jess.
Honestly,
I'm kidding.
I think it's difficult. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're a kind of clean and tidy person or you think there's certain people in the house who are sort of being messy more than others. Yeah. But personally, I was just so chill about it. Like, it just never really bothered me. But
yeah, I mean, I agree, because I am someone that it really does irk me when people leave. Like, I don't obviously mind a bit of mess, like it's your house, like who cares? But I really don't like it when people leave stacks of washing up or like just rubbish or like just like mess all over the countertops, like food like spilled everywhere. Like that really annoys me. So I think, yes, definitely like cut people a bit of slack, but I think also really the one thing you can do is be considerate because if you modify your own behavior, like if you do acknowledge that you tend to like be a bit slack about washing up or leave things a bit dirty and stuff, I think really you're not going to do yourself any favors if you kind of leave things in a tip because other people are going to get annoyed with you.
Yeah, I think as well, if you are going to confront someone about it, like just don't do it over the group chat or the group messenger or whatever it is. Like just that always used to cause so many arguments because people would be like, "Oh, I don't like your tone," or and it would just spiral out of control.
You can't convey tone over WhatsApp.
Yeah, so just like do it face to face. Like it can be. I know it's maybe a bit scary or it can be a bit more awkward to do it that way, but I just think it genuinely leads to fewer arguments if you do it like that. Anyway, me and Tom made a list of just general things that we've picked up on from living with people over the years, just general tips, advice. So the first one I've put there is, because I've been on both ends of this. I've been kind of the culprit, but also like the victim in the situation. And that is, don't take people's food because they will 100% notice. Like you think like, I'm taking a slice of bread, they'll never know. I'm taking a little splash of milk. They won't know. They will know. Like, 100%.
Yeah, I think if you do, because that obviously sometimes as well, it's like, well, I'm going to uni in 10 minutes. I need some breakfast. I need some milk.
Yeah.
Fine. But A, tell them you've done it. And B, offer to, or just do it, just replace it.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
Don't just take liberties all the time because that's when people start to get annoyed. If you just say, look, I was sorry, I was in a rush. I had to borrow some milk. Like, I'll buy some more on my way back. Nobody's going to care. Unless, of course, you've left them without any, in which case that's a bit of a...
Yeah, then they'll care. I think, I mean, if you're really, really good friends with someone, they're like your best friend, then maybe they won't mind. But if it's someone like you're not as close to, like, just don't try and like get away with it and think that you will, because you probably won't. And it goes the same for stuff like in the bathroom, like shower gel and shampoo. Like people, here we go.
Yeah, I can't remember if I said this one before, but this is one of my worst memories of the first year of uni.
Oh God.
Is in a drawer next to my bed, i.e. not even in like a public, but it wasn't like a kitchen bathroom cupboard or anything.
What was
in a drawer next to my bed was something that I can't say on this podcast. No, it was just it was some razor blades for a disposable razor.
Yeah.
And one time I went to go get one out and like it just looked dirty and I was like, what's that? And I looked at it closer and there were little hairs in it.
Ooh.
And I shared, there was only one other guy in the flat and he had quite a like, he grew stubble quite quickly. So it was obviously him. It's like he'd gone into my room, gone into my side drawer, got my razor out, used it.
And put it back.
And then put it back. Like I could have feasibly just thought to myself, oh, I have one less razor than I thought I had.
Yeah.
But just then put it back and not have even cleaned it properly.
That is pretty gross.
Oh my God. That's when I was like, I'm not living with these people next year.
Yeah. I think, when people kind of go way over the line like that, it's just really annoying. The next one I put here is invite everyone to everything. Like, even if there's people in the house who you're like, oh, I'm not as close to that person, like, you know, we're not going to invite them to dinner tonight, whatever. Like, just invite people to everything. Yeah. Like, it's just people.
Just courtesy. It's
just
nice.
It's just courtesy, and like, you are living with them at the end of the day. Like, even if, you know, it wasn't through choice or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just do it, and then at the end of the day, like, if they don't want to come, they won't come, and then you wouldn't be like leaving anyone out.
Yeah. No one's ever going to get annoyed at you for being inclusive. Like,
yeah.
They might not want to come, and they might be like, oh, I hope they don't ask me. But no one's ever going to lose their temper with you for asking them to go for dinner. Like,
and it just kind of stops, I don't know, like cliques and groups forming, and it just kind of, you know, smooths over that. This one is just like generally like don't hog stuff. So I've put like don't hog the TV, don't hog the bathroom, don't hog the washing machine, the oven, or the fridge. Like, just as it was kind of what you were saying before, like just be really considerate. Because I think some people who just like, I don't know, like you put your washing in the washing machine, then you just go off for like 2 days. Yeah.
Hate that. Hate that for 2 reasons, actually.
Yeah.
Hate that, one, because obviously it just means that nobody else can use it. And 2, I hate it because just for the clean freak inside me, it's like, well, you've just got soggy washing in the washing machine now. You're just going to have to wash it again. What was the point?
It smells funny, but it doesn't dry properly.
Because it stinks of damp, and you're going to have to wash it again anyway, which is going to, you know, use up more energy and water and whatever.
Yeah. So,
basically, it's just a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, stuff like that, like the washing machine, or even just like, I don't know, putting something in the oven and not cleaning up after yourself. Like, it's just try and be aware that you obviously are living with other people, and whatever you're doing, you know, bear others in mind. We kind of mentioned this previously, but like make time to do stuff with your flatmates that isn't just nights out.
Yeah.
So like go on a day trip together. Like it's kind of my one biggest regrets of uni is like not doing that more with the people that I lived with.
Yeah, same.
Because it's like, yeah, nights out are great. Like, I mean, I had some brilliant memories from nights out, but then at the same time, like, I don't know, you're just always drunk and you're not really like actually getting to spend time with your flatmates.
And I think it's easy to forget that not everyone really enjoys nights out.
Yeah.
Like, there might be some people that go and are happy to go, but especially at uni, they might feel like they can't really speak up and say like, yeah, I don't mind going on nights out, but like, it's not really what I like to do with my time. And they might want to do something else. Like, they might really like going to the cinema or something, or they might like going to like watch football or whatever. Like, again, it's just being considerate and just kind of getting to know people in a way that isn't, you know, seven drinks down in a nightclub.
And I think if I look at the people who I've kind of stayed in touch with since graduating, it's all the people who I did that kind of stuff with that I'm still good friends with. Like, the people who I like literally just went on nights out with, like, I just don't really see them anymore because that's not how you form.
You don't create a close friendship.
Yeah, close friendship. So, you know, definitely make the time to do that. Even if you kind of feel like you're the one who's like forcing on everyone, like, just do it. Yeah, do something nice for your housemates every so often. Like, just go a little bit like, what's the way, like, just above and beyond. Like, you don't have to do it all the time. I'm talking like, mile. Yeah, go the extra mile. Just like once every few months, maybe it's like, buy a little treat for everyone. Like, you know, Tom likes to get some cookies on a Friday in the office. Like, that's kind
true.
of thing.
I do that.
Yeah, like...
I'm a pretty good guy.
Or, you know, I've put here, like, or buy chicken nuggets at 2 a.m. for everyone. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, like, do nice stuff like that. Like, obviously, like, you shouldn't really have to, but it's just, like, a nice thing, and it's just... Yeah.
As the corny inspirational quote said in one of our previous podcasts, there is no traffic on the extra mile.
Wow, forgot about that gem. Yeah, anyway, it'll just kind of keep you in everyone's good books, and it just makes you feel good about yourself too. Oh, the next one is good. Pranks.
You love these. You love
uni pranks. Oh my god, they are great, but you've got to know where the line is.
Yeah, especially with people you don't really know that well.
On a prank. Like, there is some funny stuff, like, so I got into a bit of a prank war my first year of uni. And I did, like, my favourite prank ever is to, like, go into someone's food cupboard and they'll have, you know, all their tins of food, like their baked beans or spaghetti hoops, whatever, and just, like, peel the paper labels off, so you've just got the plain metal tin.
Yeah.
And you've got no way of knowing what's in it without opening the tin, and obviously...
Yeah, see, that's annoying, but, like, it is still funny.
Yeah. And
like,
I felt like the guy was just like, oh my god, like, whatever, and then he sort of had to open them up and put them in, like, Tupperware boxes. But, yeah, stuff like that is fine, but I think it can go too far.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh,
I put
God.
one here about throwing a lemon at someone when they're asleep in bed. Probably not the greatest idea.
Did you do that?
Definitely didn't do that.
That's assaulting someone. Lemons aren't soft.
No, I didn't throw it at them. I just threw the lemon.
What you've written here in the show notes is throwing a lemon at someone when they are asleep.
It didn't hit them.
Wow, okay.
Anyway, I'm just saying...
Yeah, don't. Basically, you got pranks, and then you got assaulting people while they're asleep. So don't do that.
It's not assault. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on from pranks. Remember people's birthdays. Like, although actually this ties in with pranks. The reason my prank war of Face Year started was because someone like went on my Facebook when I wasn't looking and changed my birthday to like not massively different. Because my birthday's the beginning of December. They changed it to like the end of November.
Classic prank.
And they didn't live with me. And then my flatmates started like asking me about my birthday quite a lot, like quite in advance.
Yeah.
Like they were saying like, oh, you excited for your birthday? And I was just thinking in my back of my mind, I was like, my birthday's still quite far away, but I was like, oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then like it was going on. And then eventually they were like, oh, so what are you going to do with your birthday next week? And I was like, my birthday's not next week. And they were like, yeah, it is. It says on Facebook your birthday's next week. And I was like, what? And I felt really bad because they literally like bought me presents and stuff like that. So anyway, what was the original point? Oh yeah.
Remember people's birthdays.
Yeah, so anyway, just remember people's birthday. Don't change their birthday on Facebook. Remember their birthday, and just, like do something nice, like get them a cake, get them presents, that kind of thing. And also like Christmas dinner as well. Like,
yeah, it's a good bonding thing, I think.
Yeah, like, you might not have dinner together any other time because that's quite stressful, but like Christmas dinner, like just make an effort to like just have a group meal and sit down and eat together. Like it's really nice. Be quiet if you get back from a night out at 2 a.m.
Yes.
Like, it's pretty standard, but like it is honestly one of the major things that always caused arguments for me at uni was like people getting back late and drunk and just like being a nightmare. So just try not to do that. Next one is buy loo roll. Like honestly, if you live in a shared bathroom, like buy loo roll more than you think you need to buy loo roll, because if you think you're buying it enough, you're probably not.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Like, honestly, I used to get so frustrated because I feel like I was always the person buying the loo roll.
Yeah.
And other people weren't. So just buy loo roll. Like, buy like a huge pack at the beginning of the year and just like sit back and relax doing like your loo roll duty is done.
Yeah. This final tip
and
is one that I'm very passionate about.
This one, see, I don't get this one. I'm like, just get over it.
You don't get this one because you're the perpetrator, not the person who has to deal with it.
No, I still have to deal with it. Anyway, we should probably tell you what it is rather than just talking about it. It's if you've got long hair, remember to take any hair out of the plug hole in the shower because some people get really mad if you leave it in there.
Right. Number one, it's gross.
Why is it gross? It's just hair.
But this sounds like we live together and we're airing our grievances.
It's not.
Number one, it is gross.
It's not.
Hair is gross when it's off your head. It is gross when it's in the plug hole, drenched in water, and it's gone into a clump. It's even more gross. And three, even you've made that mess, so clean it up. Like in my first year, so again, the people I didn't like, the plug hole used to get filled literally, this is an exaggeration, every day. Like I don't know whether she had a disease or something, but she was losing a lot of hair. She didn't, so that's why I can joke about it. But the giveaway, and the reason I knew it was one person in particular, was because she had very red hair, and the hair in the plug hole was very red. And it was absolutely gross. I had to clean it out every single day.
I feel like that's persecution. Singling this girl out.
Well, I mean, it was her. It wasn't the other girl who was a brunette.
I'm just saying, right? Obviously, you should clean the plug hole out every so often. Although I do think some people get a little bit too mad about it.
It's gross, and it blocks up the drains as well. Anyway, let's not turn this podcast into no more hair in the drain. All right,
I am agreeing with you. Yeah, basically, remove your hair from the drain because some people get really mad about it.
It leads into what I was saying. Just be considerate, guys.
Be considerate. That's the moral of the story. Be considerate and don't
leave your hair in the drain.
Yeah. So I think another big shock to the system when you move to uni is learning how to like budget and be independent with your money, like probably for the first time. Because all of a sudden you get this maintenance loan in your bank account and it's up to you to know what to do with it and not spend it all at once.
Yeah, although of course everyone's experience of finances at uni is different. So some people might get a maintenance loan, some people might get a job, some people might have their parents helping them out a lot. There's loads of different variations on how you get your funding to live at uni.
Yeah, but regardless of what your situation is with money at uni, there are going to be times when you need to learn how to budget, which is why we've got our resident money expert, Jake, here to tell us how you do that. So this is obviously the Freshers special of the podcast. So what was your experience of Freshers Week?
I'm not going to lie. I think I have a reputation as a bit of a money saver, both like in the Save a Student office and between all my friends. But I had a very sharp learning curve. Basically, I'm one of those people that everybody knows that went and spent pretty much all of their money within the first month. I think it was, for me, it wasn't a strict upbringing. That sounds weird. Sorry, Mum and Dad. I guess I was a bit more restricted in like things I was allowed to eat and that kind of thing. So when I went to university, I just went all out. Yeah. And that's alcohol, food,
You told
anything.
me a story the other day about an elaborate purchase that you made when your maintenance loan came in. Because I had to buy a suit for the wedding. And he's nodding. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I also had a wedding while I was at university, and I decided that I would go into a suit shop, and being kind of 18 years old, not really knowing the world of retail, what kind of goes on, walked straight into the shop, walked straight to the first sales guy and said, I'm looking for a suit for a wedding. And I think he saw me coming. It was one of those things where he let me try on 2 or 3 suits. I thought one of them was the nicest suit I'd ever seen. Then he told me the cost, and I was too kind of shy to wimp out a bit at that stage. So yeah, that was.
How much did it cost you?
It was in the region of. There was three numbers, 2 zeros. I'll say that. That's it.
I think it was 400, but we'll let it go.
But obviously, you've kind of learned your lessons since then. So what would be your tips for creating a budget at uni? Like, do you literally need like a spreadsheet, or is there a better way of doing it than that?
Oh, it's different for everyone. I know that's a very vague answer, but you know, some people, like right now, I go to the length of I've got a really ridiculously complicated Excel spreadsheet, but no one should have to go to those levels. You could literally write it down on a piece of paper. Some people prefer to kind of draw up a budget and then take cash out at the start of each week. Obviously, recently there's been the introduction of, you know, app-based banking. I know a lot of students have got Revolut, Monzo cards, things like that can help with budgeting. So I think it's just finding out what works for you, and don't be scared to start even on a small level. The best thing you can do is just start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what would you say is the most common kind of pitfall that students fall into when budgeting?
Not accounting for things like expensive suits.
Just bear in mind, students, you know, if you haven't started uni yet, you're going to have to buy a £400 suit for this week. So
definitely don't. But kind of related to that, I think shock costs. It's something that a lot of people, you know, okay, I understand that some people do have to kind of live by the penny, but if you can afford to save some money, it might feel strange that you're kind of cutting back to save money that's yours and you already have. But there's things like your laptop might break, you might have, say, your bike stolen. Something like that is a thing that comes up every now and then, and it's quite a large cost that you might have to foot the bill for. And if you're not prepared for it, then that kind of ruins your whole budget altogether.
Okay, and how important would you say that it is to have a good student bank account and an overdraft?
I'd say very important. I didn't do without mine. I couldn't have got through university without mine. I know a lot of students can't get through university without theirs. There's lots of options available. Some people prefer to go for the freebies that banks offer. Some people prefer to go for larger overdrafts. I think it's about finding out what suits you.
So, like, aside from your overdraft, what would you suggest you do if your maintenance loan runs out before the end of the term?
Students these days kind of accept that there's more to funding than just your maintenance loan. I think we see, when we run the National Student Money Survey, we found that 75% or close to 75% of students are getting part-time jobs now. 75% are relying more on parental kind of contributions. You know, students have to be aware there's multiple income streams. You can't just rely on your loan to live. The amount you get as a maintenance loan is ridiculous. It's never going to cover your living costs. So you have to kind of look for other avenues.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there about like parental contributions and stuff like that. So, and I think when you're starting out at uni, you don't really know how much your parents should be giving you. So, like, is there kind of any guidance on that?
While the loan is based on household income, I think that you should expect your parents to kind of top up your maintenance loan. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask them. I think if you're reasoned with the argument, then they would kind of see where you're coming from. I mean, shameless plug of the tool on Save a Student here, but we've got a parental contributions calculator tool. If you go there, input what your household income is, where you're going to be studying, it will tell you how much your parents can reasonably expect to kind of top up your loan. I know everyone's different, but at least if you have a guideline. And in terms of if people are looking for averages, if your household income is around £35,000 per year, I think you're looking at your parents having to top up around £1,300 for the year.
Oh, wow. That's quite a lot. And what about credit cards? Like, do you think they're a good idea for students to turn to if they need a bit of money, or?
You should definitely save the hardest question till last. This is a bit of a cop-out, but I'm going to say yes and no. So credit cards can be really good if you're someone that's really stringent with money, someone who knows how to budget, someone who knows that they're going to get money at the end of the month in order to pay it back. There's many benefits. Obviously, if you know money's going to come through and you just need to pay a bill or something, then if you've got a 0% credit card, it can help with that. And if you pay it off, there's no charges you're going to incur or anything. Also, you can do things like building your credit score. For those who don't know, your credit score is what the banks look at when they're looking to lend you money, and that can kind of impact on you in the future when looking at mortgages and stuff. So a credit card can be good for that. But this is the caveat with all that. If you're not good with managing money, I don't think it's a good idea to get a credit card, simply because if you end up spiraling into debt, not making repayments, I would never want to advise someone to get into that kind of money troubles, because that can obviously lead to further complications. You don't want to get into debt. So I think if you're someone that knows you're maybe not so great with money yet, then potentially a credit card is not a good option.
Yeah.
I think probably in my opinion, the best way to look at credit cards is really only use them if you could be using that money on the debit card instead. So like, if you've got the money, so say you have, I don't know, £100 in your bank account, then limit yourself to £100 spent on your credit card. Don't spend more on the credit card than you've got in real life, because that's when debt starts to spiral. Essentially, just use it as a debit card that at the same time can boost your credit score. Yeah,
because that's what your overdraft's there for, essentially. Like, if you don't have the money, then you can, student overdrafts are 0%, right? So you won't get charged any fees for going into them. And that's certainly kind of what I used most when I was at uni and I was kind of struggling for money. Cool. So there's some great tips and advice there. Thanks for coming on the show, Jake. And if you go to the Save the Student website, we've got loads more tips on how to budget at uni. Anyway, on that note, it's the end of this episode. Make sure you head over to savethestudent.org/podcast for the show notes. And we also put links to more helpful advice for Freshers Week, things to take to uni, all that kind of stuff. And thanks to Tom, of course, for joining me.
Thank you, and hope everyone out there has a great Freshers Week and a great 3 years at university.
Thank you for listening to this episode of No More Beans. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review on whichever platform you're listening on.